Welcome, everybody, to the Raad Life, the only talk radio show that takes you along with host and age explorer Raad on his continuing journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older. The Raad Life is brought to you this week by Your Home for a Lifetime, a company dedicated to empowering you to stay safely, independently, and comfortably in your own home. And now here is your host, Raad.
A journey of discovery, right? Life's journey of discovery. Is that what is it that you termed me? You're the one who stuck me with that label.
You are the age explorer. You're exploring the ages here.
Yeah, I'm getting old exploring the ages. No, but I'm laughing because we are not satisfied after 3 years to just explore aging in the real realm.
Mm-mm.
We're now going to enter into a dream state as well and see what that has to tell us.
You're going to be the age alchemist now.
We're boldly, and not in terms of losing our hair, boldly going where no age explorers have gone before. Is that it, Paul? We have a great show today. And, I tell people, and they don't believe me, that we don't really prep for these shows. We really don't prep for these shows, right?
They believe you.
We really want these things to be organic. We want them to be very comfortable for everybody. You know, the most beautiful thing I hear, no pressure though, by the way, okay, Anna, no pressure, is that people leave the show saying they had a great time.
That's good.
Which is really good, right? We also don't prep because I really want it to be an explorative, exchange. And we really sometimes don't really even have an agenda. Like, we have a couple of loose areas that we deal about. We talk about seniors, we talk about baby boomers, aging and sort of the things of interest that come our way. But we're kind of open to receive.
Where are we going as we get older? And certainly she's going to tell us where she went.
Well, I don't know where you're going.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm going.
But you raise
gone.
you raise a good point. Okay, and I think it might be actually a very nice way to delve into this topic today. Is you don't really need to know. You don't need to be in such control that you are predetermining every single thing that's happening. Now, obviously, there are certain things that you need to do from a safety, from a sustaining your life, food, shelter, water, right? But as far as direction in life, as far as that, you have to follow a certain path, and societally, we've been basically sold a bill of goods, in my opinion, where everybody has to follow the same path. That there are certain steps you put into practice, and then it leads you to the promised land of whatever that means.
You go to college, you
right.
you start a career, you get married, and you retire, and you die.
Right.
So
well,
linear path.
Not to point out your age, but maybe back in the day when it was your time.
Well, back
in
the covered wagon days.
Let me share with you the equivalent of that today. The equivalent of that today is you go to college, you come out of college with a couple $100,000 in debt if you're lucky.
Yikes.
Okay? You are now basically at a loss if whether what you're pursuing is for a passionate pursuit or basically just a job basically versus a career. Is one better than the other? We've been sold a bill of goods that everybody's path is through a degree. I'm not knocking it. I went to schools, and I'm not going to name drop because Paul gives me a hard time whenever I say Switzerland and I say Peter Drucker Center and stuff like that.
Yeah, we don't bring those up.
Right, you don't bring those up, But he's from Michigan. I never bring up the University of Michigan. That's him. But I'm not knocking education. I think it's very important. I think what we have lost focus of is that education and learning can happen in formal settings and informal settings. And what we really should be teaching people, in my opinion, is the ability to receive, to remain open to receiving, right? Wherever that knowledge comes from.
Yeah, and the passionate to learn, the passionate interest to enhance your knowledge.
To
wherever
continue
you go,
to have that,
right?
to hold on to that, right?
You always want to learn something new.
Right, and I think, sadly, learning could be easily, conceived by people, depending on their own personal experience, as something that's an arduous thing, that it's a difficult thing, it's a task, it's a homework, it's a to-do thing, right? Versus actually a thirst for knowledge, for awareness, for growth. If you are able to sustain that as you go through life, I think you are in a lot better spot. You're probably happier. You probably deal with things as they come along the way in a better manner, right? Because you're not sort of in a state of frustration, desperation, overwhelming, I mean, and God knows these days, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that basically is distracting, a lot of things that are basically we're hammered with on a daily basis. I mean, you and I basically live in the world sort of sort of wellness and spas, and I crack up when we're actually people are now paying facilities, spa facilities, wellness centers for silence. Right?
Yeah,
They're actually
that's-
going to places
You gotta
and
pay
paying
to be
people for
silent.
silence.
Because
gotta
there's
pay to-
constant overload, of course, of information.
Right.
Yeah, we feel panic.
So you know we've over missed.
So I want you to.
We haven't identified your guest here in 10 minutes.
That's okay. But we're organic. We're very fluid. So I do want to introduce my guest. Okay, Anna-Karin Björklund. Björklund
Yeah.
with a K. That's what I didn't get right. It's Björklund. Okay, it's not a silent.
It's a Swedish name.
It's a Swedish name. And so I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
And
she's going to tell us about her journey.
well, I want to hear for people just to kind of set the stage, just throw them a disruptor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're an inspirational speaker.
Yes.
You're an author. There's a book right here, The Dream Alchemist.
Yes, my
Okay,
latest one.
right? And you are a dream teacher?
Yes.
So we all dream, right?
Mm.
Why do I need to learn how to dream?
Well, it's not so much learning how
Well,
to
I
dream.
know. I'm
It's more about learning how to listen to your
Ah.
dreams, right?
so
it's not always to do that. Sometimes we just wake up and we brush them away as if they were just a dream.
Mm-hmm.
And already as a child, I knew there was something there in my dreams. So I would run down to the kitchen in the morning trying to tell my mom about all my dreams. And now being a mom myself, I can
Yeah.
see that sometimes you just don't have time in the morning to sit and listen to all those dreams
Oh.
that your child is so passionate about telling.
So do you
So,
think
yeah.
do you think we are more able to connect with that side of us when we are younger?
Yeah, well, when we are younger,
Then we
we
are
tend to
older?
dream. We tend to remember our dreams
Ah.
easier, and also to have more dreams with fairy tale images, and because that's kind of the connection
Sort of more
with
of
the
a more of a
childhood.
visual, sort of a creative
Yeah,
visualization.
but
Vivid
that's not
dreams,
that's
yeah.
not being said that when you're grown up you
Yeah.
can't have vivid dreams either. I've had dreams of fairies and dragons, and so
No,
all
come
kinds
on.
of things
You
that happen
dreamed
in
of
your
fairies and dragons? That's only little kids.
You dreamt of fairies and dragons too, Paul. In some cases, though, you had substance assistance.
yeah,
Okay.
that assisted
Right.
me to
Yeah.
get to those dreams.
But so that's interesting. So you can see a parallel with your own experience as a child, and then now as a
Yeah.
mother.
Yeah, but I
Interesting.
can understand that sometimes there's just not enough time there.
Right.
That being said,
Yeah.
since I focus on dreams
Right.
as my profession, I do take the time to listen to my
So
daughter's
how did
dreams.
you get into a profession of listening to dreams?
Yes, so I wasn't
Did
always
you
a
just
dream
wake up one
teacher.
morning and say oh,
I mean, I was always interested in dreams, and I would write about dreams as a little child. I built up a little dream library
Yeah.
in my childhood room in Sweden, which was way before the
what is
internet.
a dream library?
So I would have bookshelves and bookshelves of dream books. And whenever I went somewhere, I found a dream book, I would get it. So, there was always the interest
Wow.
there. Yeah. But that being said, I was in the corporate world for many years, working in aviation.
Okay.
And I was traveling near and far, and I always had a little bit of a restlessness inside me, a little bit of an anxiety,
Uh-huh.
especially when speaking in front of a lot of people.
Uh-huh.
Not so much about aircraft, but more about myself. That's when I felt that anxiety. So, and one day I went to a beautiful retreat, and there was a girl who had just been to India who was there, and she was channeling out this beautiful energy, and I felt gold. I felt home. And I thought, I want to go to India. I want to do what she has done. So I went to India on a little retreat. I took some vacation time from my job,
Yeah.
and I stayed at an ashram where we lived in silence, a total silence. Talking about silence earlier.
How long were you there?
It was a month.
In,
yeah.
in total silence?
Yeah. So no talking and no speaking, and no speaking, and also no eye contact.
I wouldn't last an hour.
And walking around peacefully rather than, no listening to music. So really experiencing the present moment. And so it was a beautiful time of my life where I did a lot of insights and soul searching.
Is this sort of like the movie I mentioned to you that Julia Roberts made, Love, pray, eat.
Eat, pray, love.
Eat,
Yes.
pray, love. I'm backwards here.
Although, of course, I didn't go to Italy or Bali.
Ah, okay.
But I did go to India.
But she finds herself kind of lost. She's in a relationship. She
Yeah.
says, I got to go find some
Well,
meaning. And she goes off to eat,
Yeah, and that's
pray,
the other
love.
thing. I did have a few heartbreaks before I went
Right,
there.
right.
And as I was there, there was this beautiful little dasas. It was led by a guru in the ashram in India, as many ashrams are. And the dasas, the disciples of the guru,
Yeah.
would lead us into sacred meditations. And as we would sit there and meditate, sometimes they would share sacred teachings and ask us to reflect on things in our lives. And one of those was hurt that we have caused others and hurt that others have caused us. And naturally, of course, I started thinking about recent relationships.
Sure.
And I realized that it wasn't so much that I had stayed in unhealthy relationships, maybe a little bit too long, but more so that I kept attracting them. So I came back to America, and guess what? I kept on attracting those still after that insight. So at that time, I decided to leave the ashram's guru and also leave the father of my child at the same time, because I just really wanted to have my own path and explore more and more.
You think you would have done that had you not gone through the step of being at that ashram? I mean, I understand that you had the awareness
Yeah.
of the fact that you were attracting certain
Yeah.
types of relationships.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess the question is, do you think you would have acted on that knowledge, even though later, had you not gone through that experience?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I would have had the awareness to really see it from that perspective.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to tune into my dreams. So I decided to go back to grad school and study a master in psychology, which was just so beautiful. And I started working with dreams professionally, writing about dreams. I did my first book, Dream Guidance, and I was going on some TV shows with it, which was really, really fun as well. And but then I realized that just talking about dreams and writing about dreams wasn't enough that either.
Okay.
So then I realized that I really need to go into the dream and experience the dream, feel the dream, and accept the dream as myself. So really see the characters as different people within me and see what is it that
So were you
is
more?
happening.
You think you were more academic?
Yeah, well, I came from an academic
Right, so
background.
you were dealing with
I'm
it-
trained in Jungian psychology.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, which I mean, I think it's an interesting point to bring up, is that a lot of times, again, you can be in an academic, look down, kind of almost laboratory approach to a topic, without really being immersed in it and actually
Exactly.
living the talk.
Such a good point.
Right.
Such a good point.
Yeah.
So I actually incubated. I call that when I asked my dreams for guidance. So for many years, I had asked my dreams for guidance about how to make more money or how to explore different kind of topics that was important for me to speak about in my speaking engagements, which worked great. And I got some really good advice during that time.
Now I got to stop you for a second here.
Sure.
I'm the old Midwestern guy here who's sitting here listening, saying, "How do you ask your dream
Oh, yes.
for guidance?
Wait, hold on one second.
How do
Hold-
you
hold on a
ask
second.
your dream
Okay,
for
so
guidance?"
you're telling me when you had those hash bashes at the University of Michigan, where you basically lit up for a couple of days, you weren't having conversations with your dreams?
I was having all sorts of conversations with
Exactly.
Well, I mean, you have to be careful what you ask for. You have to be very specific. Like last night, for example, I went to bed thinking, oh, I probably need to make a little bit more money right now. How can I make more money in my dream? Please show me. And I woke up, and a dream character showed me that I just need to walk dogs to make more money.
walk dogs.
And I
okay.
thought, well, I wasn't specific enough because I wasn't saying that I need to make a lot more money.
Right.
It was, sure, that will be more money. So you have to be really specific when you ask your dreams for guidance. But some guidance, so how you ask your dreams for guidance, you go to bed at night and you set an intention, very, very strong, that tonight I will dream about guidance about this specific topic.
Right.
So, for example, I had a really interesting dream guidance scenario a few years back. I
Okay.
was about to present for the International Association for the Study of Dreams, where I'm a very active member.
Okay.
And I didn't know what to speak about.
There's
But, you
an
know,
there's an international association for the study of dreams.
oh yes, we are international.
Where is it based out of?
We are headquartered in California.
Of course.
Yeah,
Of
in-
course, of
yeah.
course, it's in California.
In Berkeley.
And of course, it's in Berkeley.
Yes, yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. It's a beautiful. It's full of dream researchers, scientists, dream explorers, teachers, and philosophers, and we meet once a year. Big international conference. Yeah.
Let me just interject this. So there are
Yeah.
people that are listening to this going, "This is just ridiculous. This is all loosey goosey California, nuts and fruits." Da da da. I will tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Being in a creative field, okay, this isn't crazy. This is actually very much being in tune and attuned. And this is just another way that you communicate your intentions, that you basically plan. Some people put their plans on a piece of paper. Other people basically, like me, that are not linear, basically don't have a to-do list on a piece of paper. We actually do it in the back of our heads. And it's really interesting because there are things that, like in my own personal experience, there are things that I have basically put that intention out there, and it's years. And it doesn't go away. It's just on that sort of continuing business loop, right? And it gets worked out through consciousness and dream state.
Yeah.
And I totally understand when you're saying to be very intentional about what it is that you are working through, because
Yeah.
I saw an interesting article, and it was in the Harvard Business Review this last issue actually. And it talked about something, and it resonated to me because it was something that I instinctively have been saying to people. How you pose the question determines the kind of answer you get,
Oh yes.
right?
Yeah.
And in some cases, the questions are actually more important than the answers.
Yeah.
And people don't take the time to formulate that question, right? And it's very interesting because what you're talking about being very intentional, in my mind, is exactly that.
Yeah.
You almost know what the outcome is that you want.
Yeah.
So you pose yourself in a position, you position yourself to receive that answer, right? And we actually, I mean, it's really, the only thing that I mentioned it to you before we started the show is, I totally get it, and I totally understand, and I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes when I have a creative solution that I need to work on, and it comes to me, and it's not a 9 to 5. I tell people this is not a 9 to 5 situation, right? And I think that really can translate and infiltrate every part of your life. It's not just that you're in a creative field, right? But here's the interesting thing: in today's society, in 2018, when we are constantly inundated, when we basically are, our consciousness is not even allowed to rest long enough to go into a REM state, right? Where we're basically having, everything from the glow of our cell phone screens, to everything, right? How would you say that people are even in a position to dream as much as they used to before? Is this something that is age-related, where people that are younger maybe are a little bit more in tuned?
Yeah.
I
I would hope that people take the time to sleep and dream. No, I happen to know, of course, that's not always the case. There's a lot of corporate career people who
4 or 5 hours of
who feel proud of not sleeping
Yeah.
much. And I love whenever I hear stories like Huffington Post or Google,
Right.
where they have sleep rooms and
Right.
they encourage their staff members to go and take a little nap,
Right.
which is something I advocate very much. 20 minutes to 60 minutes max. If you have the luxury
For
to
the
do
nap.
that, yeah.
Napping is healthy for
never
you.
more than an hour,
Right.
for sure.
How much sleep should people get?
Yeah, it's a tough question because biologically.
Is there a minimum?
Yeah, for me, it's 8.5 to 9.
Yeah.
That's when I feel best. And you kind of have to listen to your own body and feel like, when do I feel awake when I wake up? When do I feel super powered, full of inspiration? Do I feel dull and tired?
You know what's interesting is, why is it so, I don't know, intimidating, difficult for people to actually hear when you say, like when somebody says to you, I get it, but I've said to people, you got to listen to your own body.
Yeah.
And it's like everything from your health to your nutrition to sleep,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That there's no set kind of point. Like we started off saying, it's no one size fits all, right? Why is it so difficult for people to accept the fact that listening to your body is as viable an option
Yeah.
as actually having somebody else tell you what you should do?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Like
It's very
it's difficult
interesting.
for people to do that. Go ahead, Paul.
somebody wants to know, we've tweeted in, what is a dream? And I thought, is a dream, Freud obviously studied dreams and thought it was unlock your
I was
unconscious.
waiting for you to bring up Freud. I figured it was only a matter
Well,
of time.
yeah, Freud obviously was famous for analyzing dreams. Others feel that dreams are just a way for you to work out a problem at night. Your brain keeps trying to work it out, whatever creative way it is. You're saying it's a resource that you can call upon. Is it some sort of external force? Is it just something within you? What's a dream? I really don't even know
Well,
if
I mean,
anybody's ever...
going back to Freud, he very much believed that dreams were sexual repressions that came out and wish fulfillments that hadn't been fulfilled. And then Jung, who actually worked with Freud for a few years, and because they shared this interest in that dreams connect us to
The
our
collective unconscious,
Yeah,
right,
well,
yeah.
to the unconscious very much so. But Jung differed a little bit from Freud because he believed a little bit more in the spiritual aspects of dreaming. Believe that we connect to something called the collective unconscious when we dream, and that's kind of the thought of
A knowledge base, a place to...
Yeah.
to
Well,
not be-
kind of like a field that we tap into, which could explain why we might dream of something and then that happens, or dream of something that actually is happening simultaneously in another part of the world. It's really not explainable otherwise.
Or is a
Not-
dream
not-
just something you had a bad pizza that night,
Well,
you're going to have a weird dream now or something, you have bad mushrooms?
Yes. So and then in terms of why we dream, there are a lot of scientists who argue and differ about that, and they're not really sure yet. So I think
So why do we dream?
yeah. So I believe that we dream to enhance our awareness and to see ourselves and our life situation from a higher perspective, and to understand what's going on inside us. Why do we react like we do, or why do we think like we do? Are there possibly emotional patterns that we are trapped inside? And I think very often we are. So yes, becoming aware of more of those, and we can understand and love ourselves with more compassion and feel more connected with ourselves and other people
But you're
around
saying you can
us.
actually control the dream and use it for some purpose
think-
other than just it happens
I don't-
and then
I
you
don't
try
know
and figure
about
out what it
controlling
means.
it.
Not so much controlling.
yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't say controlling. There might be some lucid dreamers who are trying to control. No, a lucid dream is when you are aware that you are dreaming. Now, that's only probably in the beginning of being a lucid dreamer. Later on, as you explore your unconscious a little bit more, you understand that you can't really control the dream.
Right.
There's always going to be aspects that are coming. So
Right.
it's more about how will you react to different situations, right?
Well, and I mean, we touched on meditation a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, creative visualization, meditation. I've said this before on the show. When I actually give myself that 15 minutes, 20 minutes in the morning to just anchor myself, to center myself through creative visualization, my whole day is different.
yeah.
Right, and I totally get it, and I mean I understand for anybody who's watching or listening that this may seem kind of really odd, right? But there's certain steps, there's certain baby steps that you can take to get to that point. You can have guided meditation. You can basically reach out to somebody like Anna, basically to help you kind of get to that point. But at the end of the day, at some point, it becomes a very personal journey. And it's what works for you, right?
Yeah.
But I will tell you, there is something that is beneficial, okay? What that benefit is will differ, I think, from every person to another. Will differ to depending on where you're at in your life, in your personal life, in your professional life, where you are at in your own personal growth, even maybe, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not a repeat experience. There's commonality, but again, to your point, there's an aspect of it that's not controlled. And it's interesting because it starts touching on that topic of surrender, right? It starts touching on that topic of really surrendering. And it's really funny because the word for people, especially that are very control-based, I'm not saying controlling, but control-based for their own lives even.
I control the board here right now, so I'm very
You
controlling.
think you control the board. Okay? Without electricity running through that board, you have no control. Okay? But for that word, surrender, right?
Yeah.
It scares the living daylights out of people. Some people, right?
Yeah.
And yet I tell people
It
I don't know-
scares
I
me.
don't know-
It scares me. I'm not a surrender kind of person.
But you know what? I will tell you, once I got past a certain point on that, and it was, again, the usual story sometimes, is that there's some level of personal crisis, personal anxiety, a certain point of, a juncture in your life that you basically are forced to look around you and say, okay, you touched on it a little bit with your personal relationships. It's like, okay, there's a repeat pattern here. I was in Sweden, then I went to India, then I came to the United States, and there's sort of a repeat thing going on here on 3 continents. So, like, what exactly is going on, right? And I can't keep telling myself that it's everybody else who is actually the reason, right? There's a common denominator. It's me.
Yes.
Right? So if you get the personal courage to have that brutal moral, personal inventory, to start looking at that, and then get to the point where it's surrender. I don't know about you, but I think for me, surrender is the ultimate control of your life. To get to the point where you independently decide to give up control, to receive, and to get into those states where you're working through stuff, that's powerful. That's empowering. Right?
Oh, yes.
So I encourage people actually to delve into this. To take it, you can dip your toe. You don't have to, take a plunge in the pool, and it'll get more and more comfortable. Paul, you look like you're about to just jump on the mic here.
So what is the Dream Alchemist? Because alchemy to me is changing one
state.
substance into
Which
another.
kind of goes hand in hand with what you just talked about.
Right.
So the ancient alchemists, they were not all about creating gold, but really much more so about
Metamorphosis?
Creating a different outside environment by first working on our inner selves. So that is how manifestation and affirmations and creation was done by the ancient alchemists. So they created a better situation outside of themselves by first working on their inner selves through meditation, visualizations, and so hence the Dream Alchemist, because that's what I took the time to do, to work on myself.
So what do you recommend for somebody that's listening to us today and is basically thinking, and maybe, do we need to take a break, Paul?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to pose the question, and then when we come back, we can tackle this. All right. You are right now, you are a specialist, you're a guest specialist at Miraval.
Yes.
Miraval is very much a holistic, for those who don't know, Miraval's the original spa is, and retreat and sort of, is in Arizona. There's one that is now at Dana Point at the Monarch Beach. Okay. Life in Balance. Says it's right there in the name, right? So it's not about pampering massages only. It's not about just yoga classes. It's an overall holistic approach, right, that it's trying to do.
Yeah.
And you're there.
Yes.
So you have somebody that walks in and is basically maybe in a challenging point, or maybe it's more so it's a crisis, or maybe it's just curiosity, right? And they look at you and they say, okay, how do I start this? I don't do this. If I dream, I'm not aware of it. I wake up sometimes and I feel something, but I don't know to connect, and it's fleeting and it's gone, right? Yeah. How do I connect with that? How do I take the first steps of that? And we're going to take a break. When we come back, let's do that.
Okay. Perfect.
Which is why strategic market intelligence can help identify the actionable information you need to be more competitive. Gain a better understanding of your brand, competition, best prospects, or new product opportunities to generate greater revenues in 2015. Call 949-357-9547 or visit www.strategicmarketintelligence.com.
Use the Premier Rewards Gold Card from American Express. The rewards points can keep on multiplying. Buy 3 with triple points on airfare. Buy 2 with double points on gas and groceries. And a single point for pretty much every other dollar you spend on the card. Then, start choosing from over 1 million rewards to redeem all those points. Apply today and the annual fee for the first year is on us. Call 1-800-AXP-GOLD or visit axpgold.com. The annual fee for the card is $175. See terms, conditions, and restrictions at axpgold.com.
Voice may be different from
All right, we're back as they keep talking off stage. We should record this stuff off camera.
No. I deny anything, and I take the fifth on everything. So, okay, so before we went on our break, we have a dream teacher, a dream guide with us today. And Anna, introduce yourself again for those who are joining us after the break.
So I work as a dream teacher and inspirational speaker, and I believe very much in finding higher awareness and healing through our dreams by listening and connecting with our inner dream world and connecting with ourselves really through our dreams.
And you've been doing this for how long?
For about 11 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does it ever get old?
No,
No.
I keep learning.
You
I
keep learning.
learning new things all the time. This morning I was listening to a fantastic show about dreams, and I learned that there was a dreamer some years back, a lucid dreamer, who had an image in his dream. There was a woman sitting on his bed, and he said, "Well, you're not real because I'm dreaming."
Right.
And she said, "Well, how real is this?" And she put a cigarette in his hand, and he woke up with a red mark on his hand. I mean, isn't that wild? Yeah, and same thing have been done in hypnosis. They say that you can transfer that kind of consciousness with you, and then it disappears. So I'm always intrigued about things like that.
Well, I think I honestly believe that there is a connectivity. I mean, I think you have. I mean, if you want to be spiritual about this, you could say it's it's an afterlife. You could talk about it being souls that are basically not tied down to a physical form, right?
Yeah.
But I think there are other forms of communication, of connectedness, and depending on the strength of the connection, sometimes that thing transcends the physical plane. I know people are like, that's crazy. When you're dead, it's tapping into a knowledge base. I remember. And I think people need to be a little bit more adventurous. There's no. We live in a time, I think, that's probably the least judgmental on stuff like this.
Yeah.
That if you get yourself out of your own way, and you actually explore some of the stuff, you're not going to be looked at kind of weirdly. I think I mean, hey, don't go share it with everybody around you just right because hey, look, I'm doing this now, right? But be, as in everything, be sort of safe about who you share, the people that you share stuff about yourself in. But I think you can explore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a group in Northern California that is, and I'm blanking right now, but it's I think it's the Rosicrucians sections. Okay. And speaking of Berkeley, it's actually in Berkeley. They have their own center. And if you are in a program with them, and some people are, oh, this is a cult. No, not really. But if you're in a self-awareness and personal growth, and you're open to receiving from different sources and levels and different knowledge bases, right? The old schools, right? The ancient schools.
Yeah.
If you are able to do that. This particular thing, I remember, I did it for a little bit, and I was curious, and I got something out of it, and then I moved on. But one of the things that we did is there was actually a communal meditation
Beautiful.
that took place regardless where you were at a certain time in the day. You took 10 minutes to actually meditate and connect to the energy of a lot of people doing exactly the same thing at the same time, regardless of where physically they were.
Yeah.
Right? And if nothing else came out of that, what came out of that for me, which there's a lot of stuff that came out of it, but what came out of that for me was you were connected to a support system of shared momentary values, shared experiences, right?
Yeah.
And you were no longer an element on your own. Which in today's society, when we're all running, we're sort of disconnected. We're as in contact on Facebook and on social media as you want, but you're still no depth of relationship.
Yeah.
This is one way for us to basically delve into a part of our personality, our lives, our souls, whatever is spiritual side.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So okay, Paul, you're about to ask a question.
You asked a question. We want to give her a chance to answer it here. How do you get started? What do you do?
Yeah, how do you get started? Somebody comes in and says, I'm open, but I'm scared to death.
Yeah. Okay.
What do I do?
Yes. So, I mean, if we do have the time to do a little meditation, I would sit down first and just center ourselves and take a few deep breaths and just really feel the connection of ourselves.
And it's as simple as breathing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like get just timing with your breathing.
Breathing. I love visualizing white light around me and entering my body and just really visualizing white light inside and outside myself. That's a beautiful way into meditation space for me.
Right.
But everybody's a little bit different, so whatever works for that person. But if you haven't tried it before, I would suggest just visualizing some white, beautiful light.
Yeah.
And just really feeling the peace and the stillness. Now, when it comes to dreams,
Yeah.
if a person doesn't really remember their dreams, which happens to all
Doesn't
of
mean
us.
they're not dreaming.
Oh, no, we
Yeah.
all dream
Yeah.
at least 3 to 5 dreams per night, researchers have found, which is, by the way, about 6 years of dreaming if you live until you're 75 years old.
Wow.
You know, that's a big chunk of time
That
to
is a
just
big chunk of
ignore,
time.
right?
Yeah.
So by telling yourself again, setting a strong intention that you want to remember your dreams more clearly, you will. And then in the next few days, what I would do is to keep a dream journal at hand. Always, actually, I would do that. Although be careful not to put the pen too close to the pillow, because I once almost poked out my eye. Yeah, so it's going to just dark and everything.
So
Yeah.
practice safe dreaming.
Yes. So, and then in the morning, write down whatever glimpse you can remember. You don't always need to have a whole story, because dreams are communicated in a very different way.
Well, it might not be a full movie, right? That happens in
No.
that dream. It may be a clue.
Yeah,
that
it might
then
be like
connects
a
to something
little
else.
scene or 1 or 2 characters or a symbol of some kind. Yes, right. Or maybe just a feeling. If it's just a feeling you wake up
So
with.
would you say that you need to also be patient? and not be like where, look, I need instantaneous. I'm going to dream right now. I need the whole thing to be told to me
well,
right now.
And then don't move around too much either,
Yeah.
because dream imagery tends to be stored a little bit in our muscles.
Hmm.
So if we move around too much, then the dream will go away. And you probably have found that if you go up to take a shower,
Yeah.
you think, oh, I'm going to remember this dream, and boom, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
so-
that's interesting. Yeah, no, it's
yeah.
true.
So I'm gonna
write
have you practice on me here quickly.
Okay.
So I have.
Are we putting you to sleep, Paul?
Putting
Is
to
that what
sleep.
you're
No.
saying? You're
I
falling asleep in
find,
the
because my wife and I talk about this all the time, she does not remember her dreams, she said. And if she does dream, it's very mundane things. It's her going to the store. It's, it's people she knows. I rarely dream about people I know. It's always a movie. It's always I'm on a planet flying around the universe, or something grand, or it's always huge.
It's a bit of escapism going on.
I
in
know
your
it's like
dreams?
a movie to me, and I don't know if it's influenced by the movie I watched before I went to sleep or what I'm thinking of, but talk about that. Some people dream very mundane things, routines, people they know. Some people dream fantasies. I tend to dream more fantastic things,
Yeah.
wild things, and more like celebrities and stuff in the film. It is like a movie.
And people you don't really know.
I don't really
right?
know. Yeah, exactly.
So the majority of our dreams, not all our dreams, but most of our dreams tend to show what's going on inside us. So the characters represent different personalities within us. So if it's, for example, a person that is chasing us, that could be an aspect of ourselves that we don't feel comfortable with. Now, that's not always the case. There could be many different other scenarios, right? But as a general rule of thumb, at least explore that option, right? So I would say if you're having beautiful dreams with different kind of characters, take the time to kind of think about what they represented to you, these different characters, how they acted. Did they act in a way that you possibly have acted lately? Did they invoke a feeling that you resonate with? Or what about where you were? What kind of feeling did that invoke in you? So always take up the context too. Why this dream? Why now? Because very often dreams try to bring about more awareness.
Are we looking for giving ourselves permission for our behavior or behavior that we're thinking about by basically connecting with people like that, or entities in our dream? Are we looking for? I mean, for me, it's working through stuff. And when I say working through stuff, it's not necessarily challenges. Okay. But that's interesting, because what you're saying is it may be a reflection of what internally or consciously or unconsciously I may be behaving in a way that's different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm looking for maybe support in my dreams for my behavior.
So I'm going to give you one
Maybe.
dream that I've never forgotten, because it was the
Okay.
strangest dream that fits my sort of. I always feel like I'm in a movie, right? I feel like I'm in some action movie or something here. Or
You're a
some,
legend in your own mind.
I must be. I wanted.
mean,
to be
literally.
I wanted to be an actor, so I'm acting out that I'm a star in a movie here. I'll never forget this. It was many years ago, and it was the strangest dream, and I've never forgotten it, and nobody can explain it to me. So I'm dreaming that I'm in Vietnam. I've never been to Vietnam. And it's the Vietnam War back in the 70s, 60s, 70s. And I'm drifting down a barge, sort of like an Apocalypse Now. I'm drifting down this river, on a barge, and people are shooting at us and are shooting at me. And who is my partner on the barge? But at that time, the very popular folk singer, Jackson Browne. Jackson Browne is on the barge with me. And I don't know why he's
What would
there.
Jackson Browne be doing
I
in
have
Vietnam
no
during the
idea.
Vietnam War?
And
Wouldn't
why
he
is-
be like on the furthest possible place
Yeah,
from there?
Exactly. So he and I are on a barge, and we're being shot at by Viet Cong. What the hell? I must have watched some only thing I can think, I must have watched either his concert or listened to his music, or I watched some movie because I like war movies and all this type of
And
stuff.
Jackson Brown was anti-Vietnam War, right?
Yeah,
he
very
was
peace and love
very
kind
peace
of
and
guy.
love person.
Yeah.
So this is a great example. Now, because we don't really have the time that we would have sitting down, for example, at the Miraval for a whole hour
Right.
together, so we can't really go into your whole life.
But that's what you would do. You would,
I would kind of explore what was happening before you had this dream, and see, what if that could be reflecting. Because very often dreams try to come with solutions or try to see things from higher perspectives. Now, in terms of Jerry Brown, you said?
Jackson, but there was a
Jackson
singer,
Brown.
Jackson Brown.
Jackson Brown.
Go look him up.
Yeah,
It was back when
yeah,
Crosby,
yeah.
Paul was
Stills,
dreaming
and
of the
Nash.
governor of California, and yeah, I'll tell you why they were shooting at you. They're shooting at you because of the regulations in the state of California.
That could be.
No, but so here's a good example why we can't really have dream dictionaries. Because the best dream dictionary, I always say, is one that we write ourselves.
Wow,
Because-
that's powerful.
Yeah, because our unconscious will come up with symbols and people that for very specific reason, they have been chosen to symbol or to illustrate something that is going on inside us. And very rarely do they represent themselves. But sometimes that could be also it. I mean, I can't say if
But can it be influenced literally by I'm watching? Because if I watch a scary movie, then I have a scary dream. If I watch an action movie, I have an action dream. It tends to be whatever there is some correlation I see from time to time between what I eat, what I watch, and what I dream.
Sure, but also there probably are other things you did during that
Right.
day and why that particular movie. That being said,
Yeah, you selected that movie, right, Paul?
Yeah.
So where were you at in yourself that you would select that movie out of all other options?
Yeah.
And what about other people? Now, I've never dreamed of flying. My wife says she dreams of flying.
So what is it about dreams of flying? So a lot of people dream
A
of
lot
flying,
of
right?
people
So
dream
here
of
it
flying.
depends
yeah.
how you feel in the dream. If you're flying and you're terrified that you're going to crash, that's a very different feeling from flying and feeling enlightened, empowered, and free.
Yeah.
Right? So think about first how you felt in the
Okay.
dream. And then I would say most people who fly tend to feel very free. And you're seeing life from a new perspective. Maybe you have risen above something that no longer bothers you, that used to be weighing you down. Right?
What about the people that basically have a fear and they're dreaming of flying?
And they have a fear of flying.
Yeah.
When
Well,
they're
they're
flying.
the
when
feeling.
they're yeah, exactly. So then maybe in their lives at that point they have reached a high status in life and they're really afraid of falling down. Right? Or they have accomplished something, but they're not in a stable point, so they feel like any moment I can crash.
So they're in flight, and they're feeling unstable.
Yeah.
Unsure. The footing
Which I
is-
think we can all resonate with.
Yeah, of
we
course.
master something, and then we don't really know, oh my goodness, how did I get here? Can I really sustain this level of achievement or success? And
And then I have to ask the other one. You brought it up, which Freud talked about a lot, and I confess I've had these kinds of dreams, sexual dreams. You're, whatever.
I
you're
thought
in
we were
some-
going to go through the whole show without getting there, but okay, fine.
yeah,
There
but
you
I-
go.
'cause
There
I
you
think
go.
that's another
Have you
common
met
thing.
Paul Roberts? Okay.
The people, when a few times I've asked about dreaming, it's mundane things. They're acting something out.
No, but it's unavoidable. It's true. I mean, to be honest, everybody has those. So,
Fantasies.
what's your
So-
question? What's your question, Paul?
So what do those? Is it just Freud? What Freud said is just working out some frustration or something here,
Well,
or is
yes,
it?
it could be. Most instances, in my experience of the research that I've done and talked to dreamers, it's a little bit more spiritual than that. So sexual dreams can have a little bit more to do with a connection with that person or with an aspect within ourselves that we see in a character like that. So female and male energies blend in together. And if it's, for example, a work colleague, what do you see in that person? Is it something you would like to integrate in yourself? Or could you benefit from working closer with that person? Maybe you want to take on some leadership qualities, for example, if it is a boss of yours. So I would go a little further than just to say that it's sexual suppression. It could be
So maybe inspirational.
it could be that it's time to work together with some other people, or that if you're a woman and dreaming of making love, maybe it's time maybe you're feeling really balanced, or vice versa, right? Because we
So
all
it says
have
your state of
female
mind.
and male energies.
And I got one other crazy one that I've always wondered. You obviously speak two languages, or maybe even more. Raad speaks multiple languages. I struggle with one here. When you dream, Do immigrants
would-
dream in their native language, or do they dream in the acquired language?
Yeah,
in
so
English?
here's the funny thing. Most people I meet who are from other countries, they dream in their native language, whereas I dream in English.
I dream in English too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, so I guess it depends. But then again, I write in English too. Yeah.
So
but there
before-
are some dreams I have in Swedish. Yeah.
So you'll have to come back and talk about that, because I'm curious now, what are the dreams that you have in Swedish versus
Yeah.
the ones that you have in English?
Yeah.
Is it like, I mean, I've been in countries where, like, for the example, they conduct their business in English, but they read their news in French.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay? So I'm curious whether there's a certain aspect of your life, your persona, that you basically associate with being Swedish,
Yeah.
and one that's just more of your, like,
Yeah.
right? So before we end, and I do want to extend an invitation to come anytime. All right?
Wonderful. I
Okay.
would love to.
I would love to have you again on the show. And where can people get hold of you? You have a website, so let's give the
Yes.
website out for people.
Yes, so maybe easier than Anna-Karin Björklund.com is dreamguidance.net.
Dreamguidance.net.
Yeah.
And-
And then, of course, through the Miraval Life and Balance Spa, where they can see me for dream sessions and Reiki meditations and chakra balancing.
And that is in Monarch Beach.
Yep.
Resort.
And we also have a
in-
retreat coming up on the 17th of March, a whole day retreat with dream flow yoga. So really connecting with our heart, our pituitary gland, flowing and circling, beautiful, beautiful. And then a dream group followed.
Do you do the Dream Flow Yoga? Where do you do it?
Yeah, at the spa.
At the spa?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it in one of the rooms, or
Yeah,
where is it?
it's
Or is
going
it
to
on the
be
pool?
in the yoga room.
Oh, in the yoga room, which
Yeah.
is right next to the pool. So
Yeah,
anybody
it's
goes
next
over
to
there,
your pool.
you can see what I did for the decking of the pool. So we redesigned the pool for them. But that's an awesome, beautiful property. The spa is amazing. You really should check out their offerings for classes. And the Dream Flow Yoga sounds fascinating. I was looking at the program today.
Yes, yeah, and then we're going to have the dream group, so learning about how to listen with our dreams, how to work with our dreams, sharing some dreams, and doing some
And that
dream
is, again,
journeys.
coming on when?
Next Saturday, the 17th of March.
So check it
St.
out.
Patrick's Day.
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, we're all going to wear green.
So check it out. Come dream in green. And the Dream Alchemist is available.
Yeah,
what?
it's available
Amazon?
now. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, I believe, and yeah, different outlets.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I would say everybody keep dreaming. Okay. Thanks, Paul, for the show. Great questions, everybody. We will be posting this on social media. If you have any questions, you can reach out directly, or you can reach out to us at the Raad Life, and we're more than happy to pass the questions on. Check out the upcoming events at Miraval. Check out the book. It's great. And thank you very much. And we'll be back next week with another great guest. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
You have been listening to the Rad Life Radio Show with your host and age explorer, Rad Gantos, brought to you on the one and only octalkradio.net. Join us again next week as we continue our journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Lakshmi Singh. The 19-year-old accused gunman in the Parkland, Florida school shooting is now formally charged with 17 counts of first-degree murder.